You do it.
No, you do it.
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 Hey, welcome to the vlog. We got lots of things to talk about. Go.
Hey.
Just kidding.
You're horrible.
I'm totally kidding.
I was trying to get him to do like a little intro, but he's so like shy about it. I don't know why you're so.
I feel like I'm stealing your thunder. This is your show.
I should just show. This is the Cloudy and Tuggy show.
For sake of people loving you, you should just stick with like I'm the asshole you just come and have sit down with you for.
But you're
once
not.
A week.
You're not always an asshole. You're only an asshole sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yes. So what are you vaping on?
I'm mixing some White Bunny and Sin Toast, the new Bowls flavor from the Vape Kitchen.
Boom.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Oh, look at it, yeah. Oh, yeah. Come on, focus. Come on, I believe in you.
You can do it.
I believe in you. Ah, there it is. There it is. That sounded a little weird. Sorry about that. But yeah, it's bowls, and we'll have a review of this later on in the vlog. We got a lot of stuff going on in this vlog, don't we?
Guess so.
So I'm vaping on some King's Velvet. That looked like Game of Thrones type sigil, doesn't it?
Yep.
That's
Dragons. Black and red's very metal.
Are you the queen of dragons?
Yeah.
Are you the mother? You the Khaleesi? Check it out. This is the
Very goth.
very, very goth. I don't know about goth. It's fresh looking. You got that red drip tip. You got Dragon Mouse Vapor's new logo. King's Velvet. This is a limited run. There's only 100 of these bottles, and I have two of them.
That's how retro things work. It looks cool now because 30 years ago all the goths would wear red and black.
I guess that's true, but
Now it's cool to bring it back.
it is. But it's just look at frosted bottle.
No, it is. I like that matte black.
It's like frosted matte.
It did good design on that bottle.
So I have
it's unique enough to be special.
I have two of these bottles. I'm going to review one of them, and then I have a bottle I'm going to be giving it away pretty soon. I don't know when, but keep an eye out for that. So after you see this review, I'll do just a special video just for a giveaway. So shout out to JT and to Cuter. He's a cuter. He's such a cute. For setting it out. I also have beard sauce, so it'll be great, super great. So let's talk about a little bit about I have a fly on my forehead. The products I have coming up. Oh my gosh, is it hot in here? It's so hot in here that our sweat is attracting flies. That's how hot it is.
Yeah.
Anyways, I have the IPv4. I have the Limo 2. I have a temperature control, it's a Vapor Shark clone. Oh no, clone. Hate me. And I have what else is there? There's something else and I can't remember. The Subverter tank. And then like a few other things. I also have the Twisted Messes RDA that I'll be reviewing pretty soon. And then I have tons of juice. I have Recovery Sauce. They sent me out a bunch of juice. I got some of their juice at Vape Summit, and then I was like, this stuff is awesome! So now I'm doing a review of it, and a giveaway also. So that's just a little bit about what I have. I can't think about anything else. As far as expos, I'm going to be at possibly ECC. I really doubt that's going to happen. Then I'll be at Vape Enville in Nashville. And then we should both be at Vape Blast in San Antonio, which is all in the month of August. Just look up those and find them out. But yeah, so we're just like kind of looking at CASA and talking a little bit about advocacy and stuff. And so a lot of these, it's funny, a lot of these are all indoor bans. Like it looks like West Virginia, a county in California, Louisiana, Colorado. No, Colorado's trying to ban free samples.
You can't give out samples for free?
That's well, they're trying to ban samples. Licensing, indoor, California again. Proposed where smoking is currently basically banning vaping anywhere besides smoking sections. Anyways, just to keep the advocacy rant really small on this one, just go to CASA, and there's tons of local alerts. California mainly, Minnesota, Oregon, Illinois, Louisiana, West Virginia, Wisconsin. Just go to CASA.org, get involved, and because a lot of them are indoor bans, which isn't really a big deal. You think, okay, I don't have to vape in Walmart, I don't have to vape in a bar, I don't have to vape in McDonald's. But if you go to a vape shop, you're not going to be able to test out anything. You won't be able to vape at expos that are in those cities. You won't be able to, just go into a store and try out products.
Indoor bans. This is just my opinion, and I'm happy to take the flack as being the one person who absolutely, of anybody on YouTube.
Well, it's funny because I was just like, we're not going to talk about it, but then he started to go ahead, go for it.
Well, I'm just going to say, like, with the indoor bans, like, it's really stupid to make, like, a county-wide, statewide, nationwide ban on indoor vaping. Like, if you own a business, whether it's a restaurant, a grocery store, a little market on the corner, gas station, whatever it is, like, you can make those choices yourself as the owner and say, we don't want people vaping in our restaurant. We're trying to have an upscale Italian restaurant. We don't want people coming in with their vape and blowing it everywhere, fogging up the building. Like, fine, cool. So that can be a case by case thing. But to make what you do when you make like an indoor ban is you take away the ability for the owners of the businesses to make those choices themselves. Like, because if you want to make a restaurant where people can come into the restaurant and vape while they eat food, that's cool, dude. Like, how many of us would love to go into one of those places? You know what I mean? Like, why make it impossible for people? It's just, like, really intolerant. It's just really stupid. It's to say, like, businesses shouldn't even have the option to be able to do that. And, I mean, the fact is if the option is there, there'll be plenty of businesses that say they don't want that, and you can't go in there and vape in there. And they'll put signs on the doors that say, no vaping, no smoking, whatever.
It's just going, that's cool. They're doing they're putting the stigmatism that's just like tobacco.
Yeah, they're trying to treat it like it's smoke, and it's not.
Lately, it's, and at least some of the reports I have seen, the scientific research, which is, the factual evidence, the facts, what we should be focusing on, which a lot of, the bills and stuff aren't even looking into. Like, room that has vapor put into it, and then afterwards, the second-hand effects are microscopic.
Honestly, I mean? I'm more concerned that businesses clean their air conditioning filters and maintain their air conditioning units and the air circulation in the building. Like, that type of stuff is so much more detrimental to people's health than the possible unknown side effects. Alone, yeah. So it's like, to make a ban that just outright makes it impossible for people to even make the choice of whether or not they want to open a business. Like, in California, even to have, like, now here in Texas, like, you can open a business where you allow smoking, and that's cool. You can go to restaurants where people can sit there and smoke, fine, you know what I mean? Like, and if you don't like being in a restaurant where people smoke, then you go to a different restaurant. Like, nobody's oppressing you by allowing a business to have smoking, you know what I mean? Like, if you don't want to be in a business that allows smoking, I mean, I don't like to go to sports bars because I'm not really into, like, sports and people getting loud and drunk, and, like, I'm not a big fan of that, so I don't usually go to places like that. I'll buy some beers and drink them at home or at a park with friends where it's allowed, like, that kind of thing. Like, but to say that, like, I think it should be illegal to have a sports bar would just be asinine, you know what I mean? Like, let people decide if they want to allow people to vape indoors in their business. I mean, I vape all the time. I don't vape when I walk into, like, the grocery store. I go, I go into, any grocery store. I leave my vape in the car. You know what I mean? I go into Walmart. I leave my stuff in the car. Like, I just know that people don't really appreciate it most of the time. I mean, I've traveled through airports and stuff and vaped because you're not allowed to smoke in the airport. So, I mean, I don't smoke anyway.
I think that probably goes to the reason they're trying to ban it is because somebody had to be, I would say, a dickhead and, had to vape in a store. You know what I mean? When it's just like, even then, like, if you have an issue and you want the business, like, if you're in Walmart and you see somebody vaping, you don't like people vaping inside Walmart, then you can go to Walmart and say, hey, I don't really think this is good. I don't really like this. Whatever. Can you, ask this guy to not vape or whatever.
Walmart can ask that guy to not do that, and if he doesn't comply, they can kick him out. I mean, they can kick him out for not wearing a T-shirt or shoes or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. Like, the business can ask somebody to leave, and if you are, you know, one of the assholes who decides, like, I can't let people do other things that I don't personally do, like, then fine. You know what I mean? But go explain your grievances to the business and ask them to, you know, respect your little opinions here and whatever. Like, but to me, it's really selfish to say that, like, we should have, you know, laws where people just aren't allowed to even make that choice at all. You know what I mean? Like, that's, to me, that's just kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, if it really gets down to it, like, require the building to have a filtration system just like a place you would smoke. You know what I mean? Thing is, you don't even need a filtration system for vaping. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, and that's my point. Is like let the businesses decide if they want to do that or not, and you know that way, like, you'll have all sorts of options. You won't have the options if otherwise. Like, if you make a law that says, like, in this state you can't allow indoor vaping, or in this county you can't allow indoor vaping, like, that's just kind of ridiculous. Like, why not have restaurants that allow it? Why not have businesses that allow it? Like, I mean, would you be excited if there was a grocery store that opened up and was like, we proudly accept people vaping while you do your grocery shopping? You know what I mean? You'd be like, sweet, dude, I'm going to go buy my groceries there.
That would be a foggy,
you know what I mean? Like,
store.
it'd be cool. Like, and you know, I'm sure people who don't vape would still go in there because it's like, oh, my friend vapes or my husband or wife vapes and I don't vape, but I don't mind it, so I'm going to go do my grocery shopping there because it's chill. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
To me, it's just kind of absurd to say that, like, people shouldn't even be allowed to do that, so we need to make a law. Like, ultimately what you're saying is you don't like something, so you want to pass a law that gives law enforcement the right to come in and forcibly extract people from a business, and the business doesn't have any option of whether or not they want to do that or not. Like, you just, it's kind of a bully tactic. It's kind of like, I don't like this, so, you know, I want there to be, you know, force and violence used to stop people from doing it. Like, maybe I'm on the fringe because I think that's an absurd way to organize a society, but whatever.
No, it definitely is. It is. A little ranty, but it definitely is. Mm-hmm. It needed to be said.
It's a little ranty, but honestly, like, everybody pandering to the idea that, like, you know, oh, well, the better idea is that we should force businesses to not do this, and somehow that's not ranty, but, you know, me going on for 8 minutes or whatever it is about how I think that's a little bit absurd and unfair and the best interest of the businesses.
But I think the biggest thing is for local vape shops, that would kill their business. I mean,
of course it would.
Unless,
that's kind of my point. Yeah.
Because the majority of the people who go into local vape shops are people who are trying to test out try juice, or their mod's not firing and they fix it there, and so you vape on it there and check it out. But that's, you know, I guess that's neither here nor there. But I guess what we're trying to say about that is go to CASA. Check out those things for your local areas. Make sure you're registered to vote.
Think critically. Be rational.
Even if you're not, like, you know, you're anti-America, anti-voting, whatever. Like, you know, for the sake of something that you love and something that has the capability of saving your life, register to vote. You know what I mean? That's just what I kind of consider it. But, yes. So that was a little advocacy for you. And now we're going to dive into a quick juice review because there's 7 new flavors from the Vape Kitchen, and they sent them out to us. So we thought, you know, last vlog we touched on it and how we enjoyed the Vape Kitchen and stuff. And so we thought this time we'll actually just review these new lines. So it's called Bowls from the Vape Kitchen. Has a little bowl on it. I showed you the... excuse me, I'm drinking beer and it's making me burp. I showed you the label. So, you know, the marketing is have a bowl with the Vape Kitchen. That's what it is. Have a bowl with the Vape Kitchen. No stoner pun intended. But, so there is every flavor you can think of. You have PB Crunch. You have Jack's Apples. You have Choco Buttercrack. You have Cocoa Pops. You have Commander Crunch. You have Sin Toast. And you have White Bunny. So, yeah, we've both vaped these quite extensively. So we don't really need to vape on them while we talk about them. That's what he's vaping on, so there's definitely good vapor production in these. I'm going to just vape on some of this PB Crunch, and while I vape on it, you tell me what you think about PB Crunch.
PB Crunch. Now, with the footnote that I love peanut butter.
But you don't like vaping it.
Really not a fan of a lot of, like, peanut butter vape flavors. And, you know, like I said on the last vlog with Vape Kitchen, like, even the stuff that I don't like, I still think they make amazing flavors. Like, just the way they make the flavors. You know, if you're into peanut butter as a vape flavor, you'll probably love this. You'll absolutely love it. Like,
yeah.
To me, it's got kind of a weird aftertaste. To vape it for a long time kind of makes me feel kind of weird. But I feel that way with a lot of flavors. Like, I realize I'm actually, like, probably even in comparison to you, I'm very, like, picky about vape flavors. And I mean, you know full well, like, my staple juice is still Admiral Berry Crunch from
you can't change it
and
no matter what you do, you can't change it
and I'll bounce between other flavors, and I like other flavors.
Yeah.
Like, I really like Captain Krusty. I really dig this recovery sauce. This one actually reminded me a lot of that Captain Krusty. I'm a huge cinnamon flavor fan. Like there's from Mount Baker, they've got the cinnamon roll flavor, and they have like a Cinnabon flavor. Like, those are some of my favorite flavors.
A lot of people aren't fans of Mount Baker, but the thing is, like, if you find a flavor that works, I really don't think quality is even an issue. You know what I mean? Like, they're gonna say that it's just like this big thing people want to bash on Mount Baker.
I think some of that, and this might just be like my observation, but like, you know us, like, growing up around the punk rock scene and stuff, like, there was always kind of this edge, like, you gotta hate things that are big and popular and stuff, and
the anarchist.
yeah, exactly, it's like this idea that you can't be into what's mainstream or whatever. And Mount Baker is kind of like, what, the largest vape juice company there is.
But like, I mean, the thing is, they have so many flavors that, you know, I don't like. I couldn't vape all day, but the thing is, almost every company I've ever tried has that. You know, there's only one flavor.
That's exactly my point.
But the thing is, they have hundreds of flavors that you're just like...
Yeah.
So there's even a bigger ratio of stuff
There's some
you don't
flavors
like.
for Mount Baker that, honestly, like, I wouldn't... My trash can is too valuable to throw that stuff in.
But then there's people that absolutely love it.
And some people absolutely love it.
And it's like, I don't know.
So it's like, you know, some of those flavors, some flavors from Mount Baker, like, I cannot stand those. Like, I've legitimately puked from some of those flavors because they're just like, what is this? Like, but there's other flavors from Mount Baker that are my absolute favorites. Like, and I think that's one of those things. Like, you know, you're putting out 200 different vape flavors, then of course you're going to have some that some people don't like. Like, and I'm aware of the fact that just because I don't like them doesn't mean that they're not good and that other people won't like them. You know what I mean? Like, that's just, it's completely subjective. Like, flavor and taste is a completely subjective thing. It's not an objective thing. Like, I can't say, this is a bad flavor. Like, this is a flavor I don't like. You know
but what I mean? Going back to the peanut butter crunch, it's not that it's a bad flavor. It's something you can't do consistently.
Yeah, it's not something that I like. I would vape on.
And it's funny because then showing the opposite, like for this one, I could do this all day. And like, I know when I was at the Vape Summit, I kept grabbing bottles of this from them and being like, I need more.
Which is why I think it's a really good idea that we review all of these between two guys, one juice.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, two guys, one bowl.
Apple Jacks or Jack's Apples, they're not allowed to copy the exact name here, but this is Apple Jacks. This shit is primo. Like, I haven't found as many...
If we were in California still, you'd be like, this is fire, bro.
This is fire, bro. You gotta try this.
This is fire.
This is fire, man. But this Jack's Apple, like, I've tried this. I've mixed it with different stuff. Like, I vaped it by itself. Like, this is good stuff. And I haven't found a lot of apple flavors that really taste like apple.
Yeah.
And so this one is like, whoa, dude, that's exactly what I'm looking for.
It's funny is, and the same thing is, like, I think this is good, but I couldn't do this all day. I
could all day vape that.
I think it's just a little too. The cinnamon kind of throws me off on it. It's like the cinnamon is just a little bit too much for me.
Yeah.
And so, that goes back to each his own. So, Jack's Apple is, and the thing is, these are, I would say 80%. Some of them are 100% spot on to the actual. Like this PB Crunch is going to be the peanut butter Captain Crunch. And the Jack's Apple is going to be Apple Jacks. So this is the next one. Let me talk about the Choco Butter Crack. Because he doesn't like this flavor. But I like this flavor. And that's, I don't know why we're like, every flavor we're not agreeing on. But maybe it's because it has that peanut butterness that he doesn't like. But he was saying that the aftertaste... so this is basically like chocolate peanut butter cereal. So kind of like a Reese's. You're thinking of like the Reese's Reese's Puffs or whatever, and I think it's great. I do think it's a little sweet, but I mean the Reese's Puffs are a really, really sweet flavor. But you were saying the aftertaste kind of throws you off.
I think the only thing that really, because that one and then the Cocoa Pops or Choco Pops.
Choco Pops.
Both of them, like I wasn't really into the chocolate flavor of it, and especially the Choco Pops had kind of like. And I know that Oren doesn't use any artificial sweeteners or anything like that. Like, so it's just a you know, flavor aftertaste kind of thing. And for all I know, the taste that I'm feeling is, you know, just my subjective kind of opinion on it.
Yeah.
Like, but I wasn't really hyped on the those flavors of chocolate. Like, they were kind of hit me kind of weird. And I definitely couldn't, like, all day vape them. But I wouldn't call them bad flavors. Again, like, I wouldn't...
Yeah.
And like you're saying, like, we have such drastically different opinions on just one flavor. And that's just two people, you know what I mean? If you put 200 different people in a room and then see, what's everybody think about this flavor?
And that's why there's tons of juice companies popping up, you know what I mean?
And that's why, I don't think it's accurate for people to just say, like, this is a good juice, this is a bad juice.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there might be some juices that are just objectively bad, like you make this really shitty and it doesn't taste good, but... That really doesn't apply to a lot of the Vape Kitchen, if any of the Vape Kitchen flavors at all, in my opinion. Like, they're good flavors. Personally, I couldn't all day vape them.
Yeah. Well, so like Choco Pops is going to be like
Cocoa Puffs.
Cocoa Puffs. It'll be like your Cocoa Puffs. So there's like, what is that? 4 of them. The next one, which I think he likes the most, which I do like, but it's funny because. The Commander Crunch, which is supposed to be just like your regular Captain Crunch, is it tastes a lot like the PB Crunch, but you have the peanut butter mixture in the PB Crunch. So I'm really thinking he just doesn't like the peanut butter flavor. You know what I mean?
Really,
and that's why you don't like. That's why you don't like that, because I feel like it's the same kind of cereal flavor. It's the same mixture, but it has peanut butter.
It has peanut butter in it.
The peanut butter absolutely is what's throwing
the Commander Crunch, you gave me this like 2 days ago. I think
it's gone.
Yeah, I think the 15 mil lasted me like all of a day because I vaped this
couple hours
nonstop. Yeah, like this stuff is awesome. And I mean, again, it kind of goes back to the fact that I really like that Admiral Berry.
Yeah,
and I think this is like this might even be better than Admiral Berry.
You should have him make a berry one. Put some berry in it.
Yeah, dude.
You know I'd
be totally into that. Oren, if you're watching this, try me a little berry flavor.
Try him one. What I thought about this is I thought it was really good, but the reason I like the peanut butter crunch is because this Commander Crunch is just a really simplistic.
Yeah, it's real smooth.
Very smooth, easy. Simplistic, and I wanted like a berry flavor or I wanted like a peanut butter flavor. So like. What threw me off about this one was that I wanted more to it, so I'm glad that they made the peanut butter crunch also. But this one is absolute. I have nothing. I would probably say we both agree on this one. I have nothing bad to say about this.
It's definitely my favorite of all the bowl flavors. Is the Commander Crunch.
It's Captain Crunch. You know what I mean? It's
bomb.
Solid.
It's good stuff.
Commander Crunch. If you're into Captain Crunch, just solid Captain Crunch flavor. No berry, no peanut butter, no chocolate. Just Captain Crunch. 100% through. The next one is White Bunny, which is of course the Tricks. You know, Silly Rabbit. Tricks are for kids. But the sea juice is not, because it says on it. It says right here.
It's really sweet. It's got a really sweet flavor to it.
Kind of lime.
Yeah, and I don't always like really sweet juice flavors, but I really, really like that one. I've vaped it by itself, and I've right now I'm mixing it up with the Sin Toast. I'm probably doing more of the Sin Toast on top of that, but every 4 or 5 drips, I'll switch it over to that one. Yeah,
I would say out of all of them, this is probably the most 100% spot on to the actual cereal.
Yeah.
The rest of them are, that 80% spot on, 90%, but this is like 150%
Tastes exactly like Tricks.
It's like, and it's not, none of these, you have to realize none of these have the milk flavor or the cream flavors in them. You're not going to get any milkiness. This is just the straight, if you were to eat a handful of the cereal. And this White Rabbit is just like straight up that wheat cereal, sweet cereal flavor. And this White Rabbit is Tricks, and that's pretty much what it is. And I agree with you. You have that lime berry mixture, but it's very heavy on the cereal flavor, and that's this would probably be. And when I did try it at Summit, that's what I thought too. This is the most spot on.
It's one of my top 3, I think, of the whole flavors.
Absolutely. So the next one and the final one is going to be Sin Toast. I believe that's all of them. There should be 7 of them. There is 5, 6. I thought there was 7 for some reason. What are we missing? We have Choco Pops. You're not holding one. Choco Pops. Commander Crunch. White Bunny. Choco Butter Crack. Jack's Apples. Commander Crunch. And, yeah. There should be one more. I don't know which one.
I think those are all the ones I had.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought there was a total of 7. That's weird.
Could be wrong.
Well, if we missed it, sorry. But the other two they're kind of adding to the Bulls lines are Nana's French Toast, which you've had before, which is pretty bomb, and they had Charming McLucky, which we've already I reviewed, but both of those are great, and they're kind of just putting me in the breakfast cereal line because they're not exactly, I guess Charming McLucky is, but the Nana's French Toast is more just like a breakfast cereal, so...
The Sin Toast reminds me a lot of the Nana's French Toast, and I've had that one. Like I think I still have a 120 mil that I've been vaping on from Vape Kitchen of the Nana's French Toast, and that the Sin Toast, that's one of my top 3 of all the bowl flavors, I think.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Nana's French Toast has a bit of like creamy butteriness to it, you know, whereas this is more just the cereal type vape. That's what I mean. You're gonna get out of that, so
yeah.
That is essentially all of the Bulls lines. There are 2 older flavors, which are Nana's French Toast and Charming McLucky, and 7 new flavors. There are 7. I dropped a bottle, so I wasn't counting it. So, yeah, you got White Bunny, PB Crunch, you got Choco Butter Crack, you got Choco Pops, Commander Crunch, you have Jack's Apples, and Sin Toast. So there's something for everyone. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And even if you don't like one... you know, it is what it is. I personally like chocolate vapes, so I really like these chocolate flavors. I like peanut butter vapes, so I like the peanut butter flavors. He doesn't like, you know, the heavier chocolate ones or the peanut butter ones, so it's good that you know, we each found one that really stuck to us, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So that, I think that's what really sets good juice apart, is you can find something that works for you.
Yeah.
It's not something that you're just bearable getting through, and we all know that we've gotten stuff that we just have to bear through because maybe we're out of juice or something like that. But yeah, so going on to the next one, we actually have
bullet points.
We have notes. We kind of have notes, not really, but so misconceptions of vaping. We just thought we'd talk about this real quickly, and so the few things we kind of just were brainstorming about were we don't know what's in the juice. That's one of the misconceptions. Oh, you don't know what's in that juice. The next one is that nicotine is addictive as heroin and it is a neurotoxin. And the next one would be that you're not quitting, you're basically switching one addiction for another. So those are the 3 things we're going to be talking about. And yes, so I totally forgot what I just said. But anyways, go ahead and talk about one of them.
As far as nicotine being a neurotoxin...
And as addictive as heroin.
And as addictive as heroin, that is categorically false.
False.
It's just to say that we don't have to go any further with that argument. When somebody says that, the answer is no.
No.
It's not. I think I might have told the story in one of the other vlogs, but you know, I was sitting outside of a theater. We were seeing a show there, and a dude comes up. He's a volunteer. I'm sitting next to a woman who has stage 3 lung cancer. She's telling me all about it. Her hair's falling out from chemotherapy, and she's, you know, just smoking on sticks, like. And so she's asking me about vaping. This guy comes up and he overhears the conversation, and he of course pulls out every scare tactic in the book. He's like, "Well, this stuff's really dangerous for kids," and I was like, "Yeah, well, so is, you know, household bleach and ammonia, and so you know, the list goes on. Like, you put those things away where your kids can't reach them. That's your responsibility. You know what I mean? Like, we don't stop making bleach because you were too dumb to, you know, not stick it in a little sippy cup in your refrigerator. Like, that's not anybody else's fault but yourself. You know what I mean? Like,
you put bleach in a sippy cup?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's just like, you know, you put childproof locks on these things, you stick them in a high up shelf. Like, you know, the whole argument that like this is bad for kids is like, well, yeah, you know, if I take a, you know, 250 ml bottle of e-juice and just drink it, I'd probably get sick to my stomach and might have to go get my stomach pumped. Like, you know, that doesn't really qualify as it as being super dangerous. That just means you're really stupid. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah. But he made some comment to me when I explained it. Like, no, this isn't a neurotoxin. It's actually a nootropic. That's the drug classification. Nicotine's the same as caffeine. We know what this stuff does. It's a neurological stimulant. helps with lots of different things.
Did you tell him, and Bob's your uncle?
And Bob's your uncle.
Be like, it's not a neurotoxin.
Well, I just remember his response was, well, he worked for the American Cancer Institute, which is, I mean, you know, without knocking on them too much, they donate like 10% of their money, and the rest of it goes to pay all the salaries of the people who founded the charity. But he makes a comment to me about, this is going to put us out of business.
But that's not to say the Cancer Institute doesn't do good things. You know what I mean?
No, it is up for some debate. Is all I was trying to say. And his comment was really telling, because his response to me was, well, that's going to put us out of business. And it was like, man, like, you work for a cancer institute trying to cure cancer. Don't you want to go out of business? You know what I mean? Like, that's like saying, like, oh, doctors don't have to fix broken legs anymore because people stop breaking their legs. Like, that's a good thing. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, no, that's a plus. Like, you know, but the whole argument that it's a neurotoxin, it's not a neurotoxin, or the argument that, you know, well, huge quantities, this stuff's dangerous. Like, there's lots of things in huge quantities that are dangerous. Like, you drink a bottle of Everclear, you might get alcohol poisoning. Like, it doesn't mean Everclear is just absolutely horrible, or alcohol is, you know, you can't drink it. Like, majority of people drink alcohol responsibly. Some people become alcoholics. Some people die from alcohol overdoses. Yeah, that's true. You know what I mean? Like, you can eat too much food. You can drink too much water. That doesn't mean that you know, people shouldn't be allowed to drink water. Too much. No, that's what I'm saying. There's all sorts of, you can go anywhere with that. Like, you can go anywhere with the argument that, you know, too much of this can kill you. Like, so can a lot of things. You know what I mean? Like, you know, too much running can give you a heart attack. You know what I mean?
It's true. Too much.
All
things in moderation.
If you're somebody who runs, you know, 14 triathlons a year, like, you're probably gonna have joint problems. You know. Yeah. There's costs and benefits. There's not usually, like, just exact solutions to everything. Like, costs and benefits. Like, you know, you can vape so you don't smoke.
Not to rant about one subject, but the next one. So that was talking about basically the misconception that nicotine is addictive as heroin and it is a neurotoxin. That was that subject. And I didn't really talk much, but he did. But he kind of got the point across, you know what I mean? Like, no, it is not as addictive as heroin. The only way it's been tested is actual analog cigarettes, traditional cigarettes. That's how it's been tested to be as addictive as heroin. And there's added chemicals and added different preservatives.
And when they
stuff
test
like
nicotine by itself, they don't come up with the same results as they do when they test it in cigarettes.
Like the Truth of Vaping, I showed you that Truth of Vaping. They did one about the taxation of tobacco and how you know, like not governments, but like states are owed money, so they're trying to find ways to
sin taxes,
basically. So that's what Truth About Vaping was doing, and then they also just did the one about nicotine. Then I think I showed you that one.
So
so they were talking about that too. How, you know, it's being nicotine's actually being used now to treat Alzheimer's, and they found that patients doing that are not getting addicted to nicotine. People who have never been smokers, never, you know, addicted to nicotine, aren't getting addicted to nicotine by using, you know, large doses to treat Alzheimer's. So I mean, that's kind of interesting to think about. But the next subject is you know, we don't know what's in e-juice.
We do know what's in e-juice.
And the thing is, like, maybe the stuff we don't know is, you know, like the diketones, which are like diacetol and acetol and you know, like the bad flavorants. But the majority of companies say they don't, but, you know, there's only been a few companies I've seen that have actually tested for that, because like diacetol will give you popcorn lung. So there's like different flavorings that are bad for you, but as far as what we know that's in there, I mean, it's, you know, propylene glycol, vegetable glycerin, and nicotine and flavorants, you know. And so yeah, I mean, I could totally agree if you're using a flavorant that is bad for you, but if you're a juice company and you're doing that, you're an idiot. You know what I mean?
Well, I also want to say it's one of those things that there's kind of the myth that somehow regulations are going to solve that issue. Like, that's, I mean, you can make that argument, but at the same time, if you're making a juice that people regularly get sick from, die from, whatever, I mean, say I buy this juice, I vape it all the time, I get popcorn lung from the flavoring that's normally used in popcorn flavorings. Something with a D, I don't remember what the name of that was, you just said it.
Disotol.
Like, so, you know, say I'm buying a juice and maybe they're mislabeling it. They're not saying that that's what's in it. Maybe they are. Maybe I don't care. Like, but say I get, you know, some disease, whatever. I get sick. I die. You're going to go on your YouTube page. You're going to, you know, warn against that thing. And for that business, like, how many people are going to keep buying that if people keep dying from it or getting sick from it or whatever? You know what I mean? And that's not to say, like, oh, we're just going to let a bunch of people die and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But it's like, you know, it's not true that people can just get away with doing that indefinitely and that there's not going to be any repercussions for the business. Like, if everybody starts to realize that there's something really negative in your juice and you're mislabeling it and being dishonest, and then a bunch of people post reviews about it on YouTube and people send out, you know, or hand out flyers at vape conventions and stuff, and people start to understand that this one company's being dishonest, like that business is not, they're not going to stay in business. People are going to stop buying their juice. People are going to boycott them. People are going to publicly shame them and smear them. It's not going to work for them. It's not a practical business solution. So even for companies that are doing that and labeling it, and then people see it and they're like, I think this is bad, they're going to have a incentive to not do that. I understand that the whole regulation argument is something that lots of people want to debate, and I'd probably be called stupid for saying that, but you know, I try to be an empiricist and only go with what happens in reality, like the what ifs, what could, you know, is and isn't sort of things. Like, that's up for some argument. But as far as, you know, the idea that businesses could just keep doing this and people could get sick from it and somehow they're going to be able to exploit people by putting this shitty stuff into their business or into their product, I don't see that as being rational or practical whatsoever. I mean, if somebody dies from it, there's going to be a huge campaign against it. If multiple people die from it, lots of people aren't going to buy the stuff. If lots of people aren't buying the stuff, the business isn't going to be able to support their product and keep putting it out because the demand is going to diminish and it's gone.
I kind of just look at it, with all of that being said, I kind of look at it like, if you're a juice company and you're doing it, it's like, come on. You know what I mean? Like, why even, like, oh, I don't care. It's like, you already know the evidence of what the flavoring is capable of. Why even, like, play with fire? Why even be an idiot about it, you know?
Yeah.
Well, it's only in large consumptions. Well, so why even use it? Does you really have to have that flavor? Is it that important?
Yeah.
Is it worth your health to have that flavor? You know what I mean? That's kind of what I think about it. And it just makes me absolutely sick. It makes me want to get violent and start hitting people when I think about companies that knowingly do that. Yeah. And there's big companies. I'm talking huge companies that do that.
If you find out that there's big companies that do that, like, put it out there. And for other YouTubers,
I'm going to go hashtag Edward Snowden on them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You let people know, like, hey, this company's doing this. Now you know. You know what I mean? So don't buy their stuff. That stuff works. You know what I mean? It absolutely does. If people stop buying the product because they don't like the business practices, they think it's shady, they think it's sketchy, people are going to stop buying it, the demand's going to go way down for that business isn't going to be able to support that kind of stupid mindset of not caring about their consumers. It's not going to work for them in the long term.
So the answer to that question, or at least the conversation to that question, is yes. For the people who think that we don't know what's in this, yes, we do. And if you DIY, you definitely know what's in your stuff. If you do it yourself, you know what's in your stuff. And like I've personally seen Oren mix flavors, and I know what's in his stuff. I know he extracts stuff, and he's a very realistic person, and he would not want to knowingly harm people. You know what I mean? So and that's not just Oren. That goes for a lot of juice makers that I know and people I've talked to. Is they're not trying. They're in this to, you know, help people get off cigarettes, help people have a little bit better, quality of life, and that's not their intention. But the people who are, it really is. If you're selling a product and you're knowingly doing that, you're basically in it for money, because you really don't care about health. You don't care about people feeling better or anything, because a flavor that has that type of stuff in it is gonna make you feel like crap, and it's gonna give you a bad trip for sure. And so, in no way are you, even if you say you are, in no way are you trying to help people. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I mean, look at a company like Coca-Cola. They've recently started making a new line of Coca-Cola that's more popular, where they use, you know, cane sugars and stevia. Use natural sweeteners, because lots of people are moving away from high fructose corn syrup and artificial sweeteners.
The thing is, cane sugar soda tastes better. Like, I think
I prefer it. So it's not even just awesome, like the health benefits, but just the fact that I think it tastes better.
tastes realistic.
People having a pushback saying we don't want this stuff causes businesses to make stuff that people want, because the whole concept that businesses can just get away with doing whatever the fuck they want and they don't have to care about their consumers, it's not rational. It's not realistic. Like, you can't do that in the long term. Like, you might get away with that for a couple months, a couple years, whatever. Like, but people are gonna, like they do now. Like, people are gonna start making campaigns against high fructose corn syrup. They're gonna make campaigns against aspartame. They're gonna make campaigns against all those things. And then the companies are gonna say, hey, maybe we can, capture a part of the market that we've lost by making something with natural cane sugars, by making something with stevia, like, and they do, and it's worked for them. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, if they're doing something bad, say it, make it public, let people know. Like, that's one of the awesome things about the internet. This isn't, the age of telephones and
Spartan kick 'em.
Yeah. We want good
stuff. By the way,
stuff.
I wasn't trying to interrupt you or disrespect you, but do you see my vape tricks?
Huh.
I did the elbow pop.
Oh yeah.
Did you see that?
I did.
The chicken wing?
Yeah. Chicken wing.
I'm pretty sure I invented that.
Patented, trademark.
Yeah, so I'm actually getting sponsored by a vape trick. No, I'm just I wish.
Chicken wing.
I wish. But no, I'm not. I'm totally hearing you. And that's the thing, when we have conversations, I think people watching this might think I'm totally ignoring you.
Yeah.
But I'm totally not. Like, I can absolutely hear him and hear what he's saying. And the thing is, I already know his opinion and his heart, so this is more for you to watch. We've had these conversations tons of times, so I'm in no way trying to switch the subject. But I totally agree with you on that. And it is something that, at being on YouTube and having a little teeny piece of the viewership that I have, like, I could whistleblow on companies if I ever find out something, and the thing is, larger YouTubers do whistleblow on them. They tell me, hey, watch out. Like, I know Grim Green was just talking about the IPv4. There's like a DC plugin that someone got juice into it, and the whole entire thing just melted.
Yeah.
And it was just from getting juice inside of the I think that's what it was, but it's kind of just like, and I think IPv knew, or Pioneer 4U knew about it, and they released it. It's just like, of course there's gonna, like, don't put juice there.
Yeah.
The thing is, if you have that high of a wattage box mod, of course people are going to be dripping on it. You know what I mean? Like, if you're offering almost 100 watts, of course people are going to be dripping on it. Don't put the thing. It was like right there, like right by where you would drip. It's just a bad location.
Where any spillover is just going to run right into that thing.
So I mean, I definitely agree with you. Like, I think it's the responsibility of people who are in the public face to I keep saying whistleblowing, but just telling it like it is. Like, this is what it is, and if you want to do that, you want to support it. Like, a lot of people were getting upset about the those Atlantis Aspire. They had the ceramic. There was little ceramic bits in them, like little beats. There's the little beats. So that people went crazy about that and flipped out about it. And I think Aspire lost a lot of business. And their next, just now they came out with the Atlantis 2 with pure cotton coil heads. And they changed the inner part was brass. It was like a silver chrome-plated brass, silver-plated brass. And, nobody wanted brass touching their juice, so they switched it up to all stainless steel, at least from my understanding. So, the reviewers that are whistleblowing or, just basically telling it like it is really help innovation, really help safety, and really, you can see it firsthand. Something bad happens, Plumes of Hazard, they always, like, all they do is they find out. They're like the Ghostbusters of the vape world. Like, they find that ghost, you know what I mean? Like, who are you going to call? Plumes of Hazard, you know what I mean? It works perfectly if we did a song like that. But, no, I know, like, on theirs, they're really technical about that, and they really will point out some, some whack stuff that happens with stuff. So.
Well, that is regulation.
Yeah.
That is regulation. That's people who, there's that guy on YouTube who's an electrical engineer. He tests batteries, he tests mods, he lets people know what's up with those. Like, he does that on his own free time. He probably monetizes his video, he can get something from it, but he's just out there doing it. You got people who are, lab testing juices, you got people who are doing all sorts of stuff like that. Like, again, it makes me think of what you're talking about with that one company. Like, makes me think of, like, Keurig. Keurig releases the Keurig 2.0. They think they got all this brand loyalty, so they add DRM, digital right management software, into their coffee maker. They lose 15-20% of their entire stock and realize, like, oh, hey, this isn't good. Like, first of all, somebody hacked it in 45 minutes and posted on YouTube that you can bypass this, so you don't have to buy their brand little cups. Like, you know, it's like businesses do stuff that are very, very self-oriented and selfish. Like, people blew that out of the water in an hour of it being released. Ended horribly
and they probably
for them.
spent 6 months trying to figure out
the CEO of Keurig is still apologizing for how dumb it was that they tried to do that. You know what I mean? Like, people just want to be able to buy their little things, put whatever coffee that they want into it. They don't want to buy your stupid little, you know, brand specific
stuff. The thing is,
stuff.
I don't know if you still own a Keurig, but I own a Keurig, and I don't ever buy the cups. You know what I mean?
I use the little metal
whole bean coffee. I grind it and put it in there. I mean.
Yeah,
and it's great. The thing is, it maybe Keurig when you first buy it, it's a little bit more expensive than a coffee maker.
Yeah,
but it lasts a long time. You can do 1 cup at a time. You can do tea. You can do hot water, hot chocolate. You can do whatever you want. So it's a great
product. And they tried to you know, be kind of single-minded and selfish with it and make their DRM software so that people could only use their products, and they thought they were going to maintain their entire market, and they lost it. The
only reason we got one is because you can actually put, you know, your own cups into
exactly.
it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have bought it if all I could put into it was the Keurig brand coffee cups. So
I agree.
Yeah.
So that is our little rant about that. So this next portion is this is going to be our kind of like after show. I was going to kind of throw in a giveaway in here, but I'll actually do a separate video. It'll be a really quick just giveaway. That way you don't have to sit through a whole vlog for a giveaway. So look out for that in the next couple days. I'll just be doing giveaways here and there. And the videos will only be up for the duration that the giveaways are available. So they'll be up for like a week or so. So look out for those, because I'll be doing a giveaway probably every week, every other week in the future. And then, you know, I have a lot of juice reviews coming up. And with a lot of those juice reviews come extra juice that I can give away, extra products and stuff. So no giveaway on this one, but there will be giveaways coming soon. Like Dragonmouth Vapors has a giveaway, Recovery has a giveaway. I have some hardware that I'll be giving away. But this next part, like I said, if you're not really into vaping and stuff, we're going to just talk a little bit about tattoos, body mods, and gaming. Because that's, you know, what we kind of are into when we're not, I guess we haven't got tattoos in a long time, or piercings, but I mean, it is part of our lifestyle in a sense. But gaming has always been something that we've really been into. So for the vapors that don't want to hear about body mods or tattoos and gaming, shut it off. Get the hell out of here. No, I'm joking. But yeah. So what I wanted to talk about with tattoos was, you know, coming from California to Texas, at least a part of, you know, I think the majority of Texas isn't as tattooed and as into body mods as, you know, like California we were. You weren't really looked at like a freak or you know, or unicorn, like you said. So I mean, like, how do you feel coming into a place that you know, it's not really accepting of how you look?
It's definitely not like mainstream out here by any means. I mean, you know, when I go anywhere in public, I might see like 1 or 2 people who have, you know, anywhere near as many or more tattoos than I have, or, you know, stretched ears or facial piercings. And I will say that in Texas, you know, in California, I still had, you know, every once in a while somebody who felt that they really needed to like grandstand me in public and let me know how dumb they thought it was that I did this, that, or the other thing. And, you know, but in Texas, I think people are more surprised by it, but I think culturally they feel less of the need to kind of like personally confront you about something like, I really think your tattoos are horrible, and how would you, you know...
They just think it looks weird.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Why would you do that?
Yeah,
and that kind of thing. And
I think out here, for the most part, I've gotten... It's not anything negative, it's just kind of like, well, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is, it's respectful, you know what I mean? Because it's like, you know, you're not telling me how to live my life, or that I'm a crazy person because I did this, or you're judging me based on my outer appearance. You're just like, it looks weird, you know? Yeah. Let's move along, you know what I mean?
Personally, I wouldn't drive a F-350 truck just because, and I wouldn't wear a Stetson cowboy hat, and I wouldn't wear snakeskin boots. But that's true. I don't think people are dumb for doing that by any means whatsoever.
Like I was saying, like I'm not... I would never, even if someone gave me a lifted truck, I probably wouldn't drive it. Just because, I just think that it's just not necessary. For me personally, I don't feel a truck that large is that necessary. It's not. I have plenty of friends that have them. I don't think it's a big deal. But me personally, I'm just like, I think this is just too big, too much on gas. It's just not something I would do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like, I've traveled all over the world. I spent a couple months in Indonesia, and I remember, like, there was this funny trend in Indonesia. Like, even though most people drive motorbikes, like small little scooter type things, like mopeds sort of deals. I mean, you had, like, there was this taxi cab trend where every taxi cab was like a disco club. Like, they'd have disco balls in there, black lights, strobe lights. They'd have bench seats on both sides with tube subwoofers underneath it to where you get, like, nauseous sitting in the back of a taxi because it's like, doof, doof, doof. But, I mean, it's what people do there. Like, I don't have to hate on it, you know what I mean? Like, would I drive a car? I mean, and some people just did it, like, they had their own personal rides with, like, neon lights everywhere and, subwoofer systems installed on the outside of the car just so you could, if you're driving by them, you could listen to what they're listening to, like, and that was just something that, like, culturally was really in there, you know what I mean? Like, so I think it's one of those things, like, you need to be aware of the fact that just because something is normal where you come from doesn't mean it's normal or right anywhere else, you know what I mean? And there is kind of that, like, homogenistic mindset that, well, I grew up here and I don't see this very often, so you're really stupid or bad or, an idiot for doing these things. And it's like, it is some of that just live and let live, man. Like, if you don't like something, don't do it. Nobody's forcing you to get tattoos because I have tattoos. Nobody's forcing you to stretch your ears or have nose piercings I do.
Speaking of culture, like, that's kind of the culture we were raised in, you know what I mean? That's what we kind of were brought up in, like, that kind of, it wasn't a bad thing to get tattoos. It wasn't weird. It wasn't... I mean, for some it was weird, but, the majority of our friends had tattoos, had piercings, so it was just, it was what we were raised in. It was, what it was. And
it's definitely a social stigma that's changed. I mean, originally, like, when tattoos first came on the scene, you had, like, it was mostly something that happened in Eastern cultures, Japanese, Chinese. A lot of Asian cultures had tattoos. A lot of Pacific Islanders did tattoos. They had, like, those sticks you tap in. You tap them in different inks and stuff. And then you had, like, I think it was World War I, World War II. You had Sailor Jerry, who was stationed in Hawaii. He met a bunch of Japanese tattoo artists. He made the traditional tattoo style, brought some of the American... And it had a lot of Navy influence. That's where you get all the nautical stuff and, like, a lot of the traditional stuff that I have, like... And he brought a lot of that stuff to the U.S. It was really popular among sailors and then people who had nothing else to do with their life because they, like, were in prison for their whole life or something. So why not tattoo my whole body kind of thing? Like, so especially, like, in the last 40, 50 years, like, say even our dad, like, he always had that mindset growing up that, like, oh, you're either a sailor or a jailbird if you have a bunch of tattoos. And I think with our generation, kind of the millennial age generation, that's not so much a thing anymore. Like, a lot of people more, I mean, I think one of the most common things I get is, like, oh, you look like some rock star, you look like Travis Barker or whoever. I've had that said to me multiple times, like, because you have a bunch of tattoos. But I don't know, like, some people, and it's usually older people, will be like, oh, I thought you were a gangster because you had all these tattoos. But yeah, so there was, there's lots of misconceptions and preconceived ideas, and some of them are actually, they're reasonable. They come from a certain time when that was the case. Fact of the matter is that's not the case anymore. You know what I mean? So we have to elevate our thinking about these kinds of things. Like, not everybody who has tattoos spent a bunch of time in jail. I mean, I've never been to jail, so none of my tattoos come from jail. You know what I mean? Like, all of my tattoos were done in professional, clean tattoo shops where if you want to get a tattoo or a piercing, best place to go. I mean, if you want to take your little kids to get piercings, you should take them to a tattoo shop, not Claire's in a mall. You know what I mean? Where somebody doesn't really know much about this and gets a little rickety, piercing gun and squeezes it around your ear. Like, go to a tattoo shop where they're going to open clean needles in front of you. They're going to, take the time to mark the spots unless you know where they're going to do it.
But then you're afraid to take little Johnny into a tattoo shop.
Honestly, I think that's another one of those misconceptions. Is like, I've been to tattoo shops where you got lots of elitists.
Any type of shop. I mean, you can go into a diner that is trashy or that people are disrespectful or people are vulgar. Yeah. And there's plenty of diners that I went into that I would never go back again. I'm not saying out here. I'm just saying in my lifetime, I went into places, stores. I mean, I went into vape shops I will never go back into again.
Absolutely.
Because if people are disrespectful, you're not going to go there. But, I mean, you go into a nice established tattoo shop, you know, not just a hole in the wall, because there are very nice established tattoo shops that they look like doctor's offices.
Oh, some of them are cleaner than doctor's offices, to be honest.
And that's great. And so if you want to, you know, get your kids' ears pierced, you know, at a young age, that's honestly the best way to go.
It really is. I mean, and if you want to, you know, vet a tattoo shop, you can go online, look at reviews on Yellow Pages or Yelp or something like that, or, you know, get off work, stop by, ask them about, like, you know, will you know, pierce my 5-year-old daughter's ears, and, you know, are you guys clean?
It goes back to reviews. The reviews regulate tattoo shops.
Absolutely.
Someone's like, my stuff got all infected like crazy.
Yeah, I got staph infection from dirty tattoo needles and bad practices.
And the thing is, 80% of staph infections are the person's fault. You know what I mean? They're not keeping it clean.
You're not keeping it clean. You're not taking care of it.
They're not doing what they're supposed to do. I haven't really had... I've had some minor, you know, scarring and minor... I think almost everybody who has a tattoo has that, but no infections, you know what I mean?
Well, and some of that just even happens from the... It's one of the things that kind of determines how good a tattoo artist is. If you dig too deep, you put the ink in too deep, you can actually blow it out to where it's... And I don't remember exactly what it's like, 3rd or 4th layer of skin. If you puncture it much deeper than that, like, you're going to get kind of this bleeding effect underneath the ink, where you're going too deep. You'll scar it. You'll get these big, like, have you ever seen really badly done tattoos where they're just carved in there and people have these welts and scars everywhere?
She's pointing at her arm.
It's just how it goes. Like, the more inexperienced, and some of them, like, I had done by friends who just wanted to practice stuff, so I let them work on my leg.
But I mean, they've gotten way better.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah. And then when you look at, like, say my sleeve, which was done by a world famous traditional tattoo artist named Sid Stankovis in Santa Ana, California. There's no blown out lines in the entire sleeve that he did, and I did the whole outline in one sitting. Went back for a couple times for shading and coloring. I never did get my other arm finished, but that was just like kind of a money thing. I do plan on going back and get my other arm completely finished by him eventually, like
one day.
But, you know, I mean, and I waited, you remember, like, I waited a couple years to save up the money to go to a world-renowned tattoo artist to get my right, and that's not to say, like, my, you know, my tattoos are world-class and I have best tattoos ever or anything like that. Like, lots of people don't like styles. I mean, if you don't like traditional style, you might like, you know, kind of a new school type of style. You like more of the, trying to think of, you were showing me some pictures of tattoos.
Oh, what was
recently.
That guy's name? He does like really good watercolors.
Yeah, it almost looks like watercolor stuff. And like even say the guy that at Sid's Tattoo Parlor in Santa Ana, he's got a guy who does strictly black and white tattoos, and like
one of the phenomenal.
Like I remember sitting there one time, and a girl came in, and she had this whole. It was like the Beauty and the Beast rose in the glass, but it was all black and white. And basically the whole tattoo is done with shading. There's not a single line. They never use a liner tattoo for the whole thing, or tattoo gun. It's all done with a shading gun. And so you never see any lines. Like, it's just completely shaded. The whole picture, the whole tattoo is done with shading alone. And that guy, I don't remember what his name was, but he works at Sid's Tattoo Parlor, and he's absolutely phenomenal dude. Like, does some amazing black and white stuff. If I ever wanted to get black and white tattoo work, I'd go straight to that guy. Like, and I mean, I know other guys that are absolutely amazing. I mean, there's a really well-known tattoo artist. He does really dark type of stuff. Paul Booth.
Yeah.
He's got some really dark, like real, like demonic, like skeletons and.
Is he the dude that has a sacrificial table? Is that the dude?
Yeah. His whole shop is kind of set up as like a satanic ritual shop, but he is like he's one of the most talented tattoo artists in the world.
Yeah,
like,
he has phenomenal
guy's absolutely
work,
amazing. Like, I mean, I personally wouldn't want any of that art on me because I just think it's kind of dark and creepy and weird. But like, it's not to say that people who get it are dark or creepy or weird.
You can't knock his style.
The guy's a top tier artist. He does some of the best tattoo art in the world, and people who go to him pay lots of money, and they have phenomenal tattoos done by the guy.
For sure.
So, you know, it goes back to kind of like juice flavors. Like, get what you like. Find a tattoo artist you like. Go to a tattoo artist you like.
Don't get one with Dicetol.
Yeah. So it's like, but yeah, and then like even say with piercings and stuff. I mean, I know lots of people who have stretched their ears like you and I, and then decided they didn't like it, so they get their ears stitched back up. It's a pretty inexpensive procedure. Yeah, you can get your ears stitched back up.
And I mean, there might be minor scars. It's nothing crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, one of the reasons that lots of people go back for it is they don't do it properly. You get these people who think that gauging your ears is about pain tolerance.
Yeah.
I've had so many people ask me that.
Was really upset. Another reviewer was really upset that somebody said gauging and not stretching because I guess the official term is stretching.
Well, gauges end at 00. After that, it becomes increments of
metric.
inches. It's metric.
Yeah.
It's all of that. Like it's
So
so technically anything above a 00 is not a gauge. It's a stretch.
It's a stretch. Yeah.
But it's like, so you have people who think that stretching your ears is about pain tolerance. Like, I just need to be able to see how fast I can do this, and they literally end up tearing their earlobes in half. I have multiple friends who have done that.
I saw a dude in a restaurant the other day, and he had like, it was like 00s or something, and he's like, oh, I want to go bigger. People are telling me I shouldn't go bigger. He's like, but you know, I went from, I don't know, like 8 to 0 in a week or something.
Yeah. Oh.
And I was just, I kind of looked at him, and it's not to be that like, well, I've stretched many orifices in my body. That's so I've stretched so many. Like, I've stretched my nose. I've had, back piercings that I've stretched too, and I've had these stretched multiple times. I've went down smaller to bigger. I've went up to inch and 7/8 at one point, and then down to 7/8 now. So it's like, and I still have, healthy tissue. I don't have tons of scar tissue.
You didn't blow it out. You didn't get a lot of scar tissue on it.
And the thing is, I was telling him, I was just trying to stress it, but I wasn't trying to be mean to him. It was just like, well, just, stretch every 2 months. Stretch every 3 months.
Yeah.
If you can't wait, like, I would say stretch every 4 months. You know what I mean? Like, 6 months even, So
I mean, I've waited a year between. I think I was at 3/4 of an inch. I waited a year before I went to 7/8 and then an inch within like 3 or 4 months.
I think it took me 2 years from 5/8 to an inch and a half. It took me 2 years.
Yeah. And I can honestly say, like, you and I mean, 9 out of 10 people that I meet who have gauges as big as you or I have blown their ears out, torn their earlobes, have scar tissue. You got these big keloids that form because you did it too fast and you formed a whole bunch of scar tissue. Like, you won't find those on either of our ears. Neither of us blew our ears out. We did, like, people ask me how long it take. Honestly, I think I went from when I pierced my ears originally as a teenager. I mean, it was 5 or 6 years before I made it up to an inch, and I went so slowly. Like, I don't think I did a single stretch within a couple months of each other. Yeah. And I would wait until they were completely healed, and even, I mean, truthfully, if you're going from one size to the next, like if you're going from 1/2 inch to 5/8, you should be able to slip the 5/8 in from 1/2 inch without feeling any stretch. That's how healed your 1/2 inch stretch should be. And if you're going faster than that and you feel tearing or you have to really force it in there, you're doing it too quick. I think if you're trying to force it, it's a fad. You know what I mean? Like, if it's something that you really feel like that's an identity you wanna take on, like, why force it and ruin your ears? Because like now, I mean, I'm at the point where my ears are healed. I can take them out and I can wash them. There's no ever pain or infection, and there's not any scar tissue. I could have them sewn up for $100, $200, and they would look perfectly fine. But if you have all that scar tissue and later on, say 20 years down the road, you try to get them laser cut or fixed, it's going to be horrible because you have all that scar tissue that they have to work with. It's going to be much more difficult to stitch that up. Like, another one of the misconceptions about it is stretched ears smell. If you have bad hygiene, you smell in general. Yeah, that's just how that works. Like, I take these out every day when I take a shower, and when I'm washing my face, I pull my earrings out, I wash them off, I wash my earlobes, I pop them back in.
I don't sleep with my earrings.
They never smell.
Do you sleep with your earrings?
I do sleep with mine, but I know lots of people just take them out. Like,
I don't. I mean, and they do feel a little bit tighter in the morning. Yeah. But I mean, after that, they're perfectly fine. I mean,
you still got good elasticity in your skin. Your ears, even if I took these out and I left them out for 6 months, I mean, I'd be able to put like 1/4 inch in maybe. Yeah. They'd shrink, 2/3 of the size.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I was saying. I went from inch and 7/8, which is an inch larger than this. So you're talking like this big, down to I think I can fit 3/4, 5/8 or 3/4 in. Yeah. And it fits fine. So, I mean, I went from that big down to, that big. Yeah. So it's not going to close completely. Yeah. I mean, but it will shrink a lot smaller. But
so if you have stretched ears and your ears smell, wash your shit more often, man.
Use oil.
Doesn't need to do that.
Yeah, use salt soaks. Use jojoba oil. Use vitamin E oil.
Wooden plugs also are really good for that. They
helps dry out.
Yeah, it helps dry it out.
Don't use Vaseline.
Yeah. Or if you have sensitivity to plastics or silicone,
Neosporin,
don't use those.
Do not use Neosporin.
yeah.
Or scented soaps and stuff. But I think I think that's enough ranting about that. Let's talk real quickly about games before we just end this real quick. Yeah. So this last section is going to be about video games because we're both nerds. We've been playing video games for a long time. We're playing first-person shooters probably when we were 10 or 11, and then even younger consoles. And I think we got really hardcore into gaming when we were 13 to now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I guess we kind of ended it when we became big boys and had to worry about other stuff. But for a good
which
few
isn't
years,
to say that because you're an adult you shouldn't play video games. Just
but
to say that we have more other things that kind of monopolize a lot of your time. And
you can't pull
No,
all-nighters.
exactly.
You can't raid with.
I gotta work 8 to 12. Yeah, I gotta work 8 to 12 hours a day and wake up at a decent time, so I can't play as late as I want to.
So what? And we'll make this prompt so it's really quickly. What it was your favorite game of all time? And then what are you currently playing, and what are you looking forward to?
Oh, favorite game of all time. That's kind of a hard one, because I'm not a genre elitist.
First-person shooter.
First-person shooter would have to be Jedi Academy, Jedi Outcast, which were, if you know those, they're Quake 3 mods, Quake 3 Team Arena mods. So I guess to be more specific, pretty much anything made on the Quake 3 engine with Quake 3 physics.
But mostly Capture the Flag, not so much Deathmatch.
Yeah, Capture the Flag was our shit. Like, I absolutely loved Capture the Flag. Like, we played, like, some real top-tier tournaments doing that. Like, I mean, I'll reinstall that game.
Like the glory days. Glory days.
Yeah, those were some good times. Those are some real good times.
Yeah, it was fun stuff.
Making trick shot videos and trying to beat records and
before streaming was even a real thing. Before gaming was even popular.
What do they call it? Shoutcasting? Shoutcasting. You get in a Ventrilo server or a TeamSpeak server, and somebody be narrating it on a spectator.
There wasn't live streaming when we played, but we feel like I feel like the old guy now. When I was a kid, we didn't get to.
We didn't have no visual recordings of these things.
We had 56K. Or we didn't even have 56K. What was the lower than 56K?
28.8.
Yeah. But so, what do you think about your current gaming? Some really nice guy bought you a PS4, and so you have a PS4 now.
That's true.
I bought him a PS4 as a gift.
I do. I think I do mostly enjoy a lot of PC games, but since playing, I think because we pretty much predominantly played computer games.
PC Master Race.
We predominantly played computer games like growing up. I think I didn't own a console till I was an adult.
Computer games are like that sweet spot. Like it's like your high school sweetheart. It's like you'll always go back to a computer game.
I'll always go back to computer game.
I
prefer the control of a mouse and keyboard. I prefer that kind of. I mean, they've done all the comparisons between like the reflexes in first person shooters between people on analog sticks.
Y'all console players are new.
You guys are like way slower. Man, I'll be headshotting that stuff before you even turn around.
Boom, headshot. I can dance all day.
But I think there's some awesome games that are like PS3 and PS4 exclusive.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to think. Like I love all the Assassin's Creed. Although I think once they pass like the 34th edition, it just got absurd. Yeah. That's an exaggeration.
But so what are you actually playing right now, though?
Right now, I think the last PS4 game I picked up was it's Lord of the Rings,
Shadows of
Mordor. It was an awesome game. I think like I beat it really quickly as far as the storyline because I just nerded out over like a weekend, and I think over like a weekend or two.
Tolkien.
Exactly. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings nerd, so I mean. We saw all of the Lord of the Rings opening day because we were homeschooled. We were able to get to school and go see them.
I think we've seen at least 2 of the Hobbits opening night, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, and before that, I mean, growing up, our mom would read us Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit as kids.
And we played Lord of the Rings Online for a long time.
Lord of the Rings Online is
I would still play Lord of the Rings Online if I had good internet and if there was good content coming out.
If I didn't have horrible lag issues, I still love the like the open battlefield PvP style of Lord of the Rings Online.
You're also playing you were playing Elder Scroll Online, and
Elder
then you
Scrolls
were playing
Online.
You say you play Civ 5 a lot?
Civ 5 is like ever since I picked that up probably in the last year. And honestly, one of the reasons I picked it up is I dual booted my computer to run Linux and Windows. And as graphic card companies were making more compatibility for like Linux drivers, I just wanted to see how they worked because I know like that's been one of the things holding back like gaming in Linux. And so I downloaded on Steam. I got Civ 5 and started playing it for Linux. Yeah, and then I actually ended up. Well, on Steam, you can, if you own it on your Steam account, you can download it for Windows and Linux and Mac, whichever version you have. Like, so I ended up downloading it on Windows because I was having some issues with graphic drivers in Linux. But Civ 5 is like an awesome game. Like, if you like real-time strategy, it's turn-based style. Like, unlike, say, Age of Empires, which was also like a real-time strategy game that we were super into back when the first ones came out. Like Age of Empires 1, 2, like all the original ones were like some of the first really, really cool that I played of real-time strategy like that. Like, so Civ 5 is more like turn-based. You can only move so many spaces in one turn. Very strategic. Like, but the historical aspect of it is really cool. Like, you start in, like, I think it's like 35 BC or 25 BC, and you get to play civs like the Byzantians, the Babylonians. You get to play, like, and then civilizations all the way up into, you know, modern times. You can play America, Britain, India, China, South Korea. I mean, the list goes on. You get to play like the Polynesians. You get to play a bunch of Native Americans, like the Mayans. You get to play the Iroquois. There's a whole bunch of different, like, so there's I mean, for Civ 5 there's like a dozen or two different civs you can play, and you get to play and you know, learn about a lot of the history of those of those civilizations in the past. And it is like a lot of it's very accurate and stuff.
So you still play that consistently?
Yeah, I mean, I was just playing that earlier today, and I'll probably play that again later tonight. Like, and like you were saying, like, one of the only reasons I'm not playing a lot of first-person shooters and MMOs is because where we moved to, like, we have horrible internet connection, and so I've gotten more into, like, single players. Like, that's how I started playing a lot of PS4.
1 megabyte a second is not good.
No, exactly. So,
which is funny. We're complaining now, but the thing is, games, like, online games require more than, you know, what this low you know, bit rate can even put out. So
you want to really go. I mean, any ping over 200 in a first-person shooter is suicide. Like, you want that to be under 50 if you can get that.
I think we nerd rage too hard to even play. That's
exactly.
That's exactly. We would probably break our computers before we even.
I'm that annoying guy who's like, I'm lagging too bad, guys, and then, like, trying to PvP in MMOs, like. You know, like, I love Elder Scrolls Online's PvP style, where it's 3 different factions fighting.
Because of the lag.
But yeah, I run into a keep being sieged, and everybody's just running in place for like 10 minutes, and then everybody scatters everywhere, and I'm dead. So I mean, the shit kind of sucks. Like, you can't enjoy it as much as you want to.
One day we'll have better.
Yeah, back when I'm on a good internet backbone like we had in California.
What would you say about your, like, games you're looking forward to? Have you looked into anything, or is there not really anything that catches your eye?
I know there's been a couple games that I've wanted to try. Sid Meier's and the makers of Civ 5 have put out a new game. It's called, like, Starships or something. And it's kind of the idea, they just made a year or two ago, they came out with Civilizations Beyond Earth, which is like Civilizations but futuristic. So it starts out that, like, you're launching from Earth to go colonize new worlds. And there's only, like, 6 or 7, maybe 8, and I could be wrong on those numbers. There's less than a dozen civs that you can do, and so you get to make, like, this new colony, and you can choose whether or not you want to, like, integrate with the alien species and societies, and or if you're going to eradicate them and try and start your own, bring things from Earth and start a new Earth colony that's more Earth-like. And so there's a lot of cool stuff with that, and Starships, I think it's called, and I could be wrong on that, but it's kind of the same idea, but it's more just you're in space traveling and fighting off, you know, all the aliens that come and try and stop your journey, sort of thing. So I haven't played that, but it just came out. I've wanted to try that. There are a couple other games. I'm trying to remember them right now, like games that I'm hyped to try. But
for me, I would say my favorite game, looking back, like, it would probably have to be Jedi Outcast, Jedi Academy for, like, first-person shooters. MMOs, I really enjoyed City of Heroes when it was out.
Yeah, that was a good game.
The first few updates, you know, the original, classic and stuff. More MMOs, Lord of the Rings Online. The original was just, it was phenomenal because it was just such a great story. World of Warcraft, vanilla World of Warcraft has always been really, like, I played that for 10 years, so I mean, it's always a passion of mine. Enemy Territory.
Yeah, there's a good
from
one.
the Quake. Pull off. Enemy Territory, Wolfenstein Enemy Territory was great. That was one of the
completely user-made, fan-made.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was such a great game. Awesome. As far as what I've been playing now, like recently we just bought Kingdom Hearts 2.5 Remix, which I played that back on PS2. I beat it a bunch of times, loved it. So I just recently got it, just to check out and to get back into that. People will say Kingdom Hearts is kind of like a kid's game because it's like Final Fantasy meets Disney, but it's really, the storyline has so many feels in it, you know what I mean?
The kids game thing, I think, is sometimes just a way to knock on things. I still think like some of the fun games that you can play on consoles,
like
and stuff.
Lego games.
I was just gonna say all the Lego series games are funny. They're fun. Like they're designed to where like a parent can play with their kid, or you can just jump in and play with something. Like me and my wife game together all the time. It's like we get to jump in together and play with each other. Like you can play. I think they have like a Harry Potter one. They've got a Lord of the Rings one. They got a Star Wars one. Indiana
Avengers,
Jones, Batman. Like all sorts of different stuff. Like they're just funny, good games. Like you just want to kick back for an hour and kill some time and enjoy a good game. Like don't let the fact that those are Lego kids games dissuade you. Like they're fun games. They're honestly fun games.
They're great time passers.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're just kind of like no-brainers because most of the stuff is pretty simplistic.
It's very intuitive. It has a very intuitive.
But there's comedy in it, especially because they're parodying it off of videos. It's so funny how they do that. But as far as like games, new games, I'm really looking forward to Kingdom Hearts 3 because I mean that's, I would say at least 5, 6, 7 years in the making. I mean, Kingdom Hearts 2 came out on PS2, so I can't even remember how long ago Kingdom Hearts 2 came out. So, I mean, that's a game that's, like, needs to be made, you know what I mean? And then the thing I was thinking about is if they ever made a Game of Thrones MMO.
That'd be cool.
Like, if they did a good job, it would be really cool, you know? I mean, and you don't have to be a warg or, some type of, White Walker or whatever, but like if you could be and kind of like mix it with like a real-time strategy where you have your civilization, you have your own area you're working on, or even if you're like you're an assassin, or if you're a somebody who you're a king's guard, that's what you are, and you kind of like play a role and stuff. I think that would be cool if they would ever come out with that. But as far as like games immediately I'm really looking forward to would be Kingdom Hearts 3, just because I've been waiting for it for so long, and I don't know. I thought it was supposed to be released in December, but then I realized it was just a pre-order, so it's like it's one of those like pushing back. And then Half-Life 3, if it ever comes out, and Portal, if there's a new Portal coming out.
Isn't there a new Star Wars Battlefront game coming out?
Yeah, that actually looks pretty good.
Really crazy. Like graphically, it looks awesome. Like I hope the game is as good as the graphics. Like, because although I like real graphic stimulating games, like really nice graphics and all of that, like I tend to lean towards like a good storyline and good controls and all of that, like a good HUD, like the physics has to be right. Like if those things are off, then it could be the best looking game in the world, and I probably won't play it very much because it's like whatever. Like, but I remember seeing a trailer for it, and although they do that a lot with trailers, like it looked like a freaking movie.
They show you the CGI.
They give you the CGI cutscenes.
But the thing is, like, the capabilities of PS4 and Xbox One are pretty crazy. So, and that kind of shows, like, even the later PS3 titles were phenomenal looking because they're learning how to really harness the power of the engine and harness the power of the console. So that's definitely stuff I'm looking for. But I think we should probably wrap it up. Yeah, it's definitely hot in here. We turned off the AC, and so we're sweating like crazy in here.
You don't have to hear the turbulent fan in the background.
This is hashtag the longest vlog we've ever done. It's an hour and a half long. So
hell yeah.
So you got some vape, you got some advocacy, you got a juice review, and you got our what we do in our spare time. We game. We're just normal people. I mean, he's not normal because he has more tattoos than I do, but like we're nerds. That's pretty much it. You know what I mean?
He's here talking about what we like doing.
Exactly. So, that is all. I think we're gonna wrap it up. Thanks for watching. If you got to the end of this, vlog, tell them to say something. What should they say?
I don't know. Good job. Bad job. I love you. I hate you. You guys suck. You guys
Frisky.
are awesome. Frisky. I made it. Pound Frisky.
Hashtag Frisky.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can spell that however you want.
Yeah.
You can spell it say Frisky if you got it to the end of this video.
If you hung out with us for an hour and a half and listened to us ramble about how we feel about
Frisky.
things, we appreciate you.
Yeah, definitely. We
Pound
appreciate
Frisky,
it.
man.
Yeah, and if you have any questions about anything we talked about, vape, games, ink, tattoos, anything, stretching ears, body modifications, comment below, ask us, and we'll answer it in the next vlog. The next vlog will have more of a question and answer comment section, so definitely ask the questions and we will answer them if you want to ask questions, or if you want to just not talk at all, that's cool too.
Right on. Yeah. Yeah, if you agree or disagree with anything that I've said or we've said, then post a really thorough response or comment that you'd like us to respond to, and I would be happy to answer those and
we'll answer the comments and we'll talk about them in the vlog too.
So,
we'll answer it and talk about it. So
yeah.
anyways, that is it, and we will talk to you later. See you later.
Peace out.
Peace.